Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Wednesday, October 13th, 2021. The market continued to trade in awesome ranges today. Volatility stayed high, but it continued to be range bound. And that range bound activity has really kind of just now worn out its welcome, so to speak, but more in terms of this has got to resolve. So, because what's really going on is that there's great movement in that the market will blast higher and be taken over. So basically today's trade was very similar to Tuesday's in that the markets remain range bound. Although I will say, even here in the NASDAQ, both sides were challenged. The bottoms of the range and the tops of the range. Bottom of the range again came right at the Globex point where the European markets come online. They put in a low and then they just rallied it. Then we put in another low after the CPI numbers and then we bought it. So all intense moves, all great moves, but still range bound. So that leaves me in a position where I have to continue to give equal weighting on the probability scale to both the bullish scenario and the bearish scenario, my preferred and my alternate. So right now, in order for the bulls to kind of come in and take over this market, they really have to show not only just strength in numbers, and what I mean by that, the number of issues that they're buying, the amount of money that they're pushing into the markets, the gain that they're making point-wise. That's strength in numbers. But they've not been able to sustain the momentum. And that's really what's bugging me. So the chart continues just to produce a sideways chop fest. But I'll tell you, what it is providing at the same time is incredible profitable trading days over the last 2 days. The volatility and the moves have been extremely profitable. And one better, even if you get stuck in a trade and you're stuck and now you're losing and maybe you're now going to be down on the day, you can close that trade, regain your composure, and just jump right back in and trade and still end up big on the day. That's the point. There were points in the day where the moves were pretty evident, but you get stuck in that maybe a short position and it's evident that we're just pushing higher, higher, higher. And you could have reversed midstream and made up your loss before the move was over. That's how good they were today. Now, that does not tell us much about for tomorrow. So basically, it's the same story. That we need to have one side or the other take over this whole market. And in the NASDAQ right here, this market needs to break above 14,820 right there, that resistance zone. And then again, it needs to break above 14,900. If it has intent on not showing me that this is just a minute wave 2 and we're going to collapse. If it's going to prove that it's, no, we've got intent and we're just going to keep on buying it, well, then they got to start breaking the resistance to show it. They did early. They broke that 0.236, but that's minimal. Now it's got a big 382. And if they're going to have a tough time doing that, then I'm looking for the bears to come back in and just cut them to shreds. So, but then the same situation occurs on the sell side. If the bears really want to prove that they're going to go down, their proving game is even a little bit stronger at this point because they got to move this thing down. And now they got to get it below 14,585. Can it be done? Absolutely. We watched them. We watched them kill a market. We watched them drive it lower. That could turn in a heartbeat and just kind of, we'd be down and below that 14,585 number. If it gets below that number, well, then this two's done and we're moving lower in the third. Because that's how they have to produce the move. That's actually what I now need to see. And I think we all need to see to give us some conviction that, yep, we're going to start heading up to 15,003. Because here's the deal. We got to break that resistance at 820. Then we got to break above 14,900. but the proving is not done. They can get up there and have a turn and again, just drop quickly. So they got to break above 965, 66. And then they got to break above 15,003, which is the existing high for this, what's labeled as a C wave and minor 2. It's 15,003. So it has to break this, and then it's into the territory where the move can be complete. But you can see how far they have to go just so that we're going to realize that, yep, that's what you want to do. If it has any hope of getting us up to 15,200, which exists under the, and still be a minor wave 2, but it would turn into an ABC, a larger ABC, this thing has to kick in and start going. It cannot remain range bound and flat. This still is just producing that this is a wave 1 and 2. That's it. That's all I'm really getting here. Now, we're opening up and they're stepping in and they're buying this again. And if they're going to get it themselves above, then first thing they got to do is get above 14,800. That would be a good little start. But unless they can start breaking above this other one, I'm just moving the 2 up. So in other words, we're just starting Globex. So we've got Globex, Asian markets, European markets, and then US markets again tomorrow morning. By then, this market has to get above all this. This buying it up like, okay, we're going to show our strength, that does nothing. It's up 20. So what? That can be reversed in a heartbeat. So we're in the same position. Nothing really has changed. So, but we can trade smart. We can trade our small term charts. They're great. This, you know, as a day trade, I'm not trading now because the markets usually are a little too wide for my taste. But if we were in a full session and everybody was participating, you know, we had all players on hand, these are great moves. This is right now $12 move. So that's at least 100 per contract or more, $200 trade. So these are tradable moves. And that's what I'm referring to. While we're waiting for the trend to be decided, we have a lot of opportunities, particularly this one. That run up at the release of the FOMC meeting notes or whatever, you know, the press report that they put out. I don't have no idea what this was, except somebody pushing a button that they wish they didn't push because it was so rejected. And it went from 796 on the same bar down to 737, like that. This is a 5-minute bar. So good trading for sure. Great trading was at hand. And that's what I would expect for tomorrow. And that's why we continue to trade the price action. We continue to trade the moving averages. On the hourly, we see that we had the 200. Everything's starting to move up. But now, if they're going to continue higher, we're going to get the signals because the 20, the 50, the 4, the 8, all have to move above the 200 and keep on pointing up. So this is where I'm going to leave this for right now. Trade smart. Trade according to your moving averages. Use the smaller term charts. Boom. See, now they're going to press. Now they're going to go for it. And probably couldn't tell you why other than people need deltas. But you can see here, see our small term? They're all in alignment. They're all in alignment to just keep doing what they're doing right now. Now, if we're in full session and everybody's on deck and this is what you're seeing, wait a little pullback and buy it again because they're going to take it higher. If it comes down and starts to break these moving averages, well, then we're consolidating or pulling back. Trade accordingly. All right. Next update. Tomorrow, Thursday, the 14th.